You're probably here because you're a fan of the technical side of OCR and hybrid race coverage, and that's what we're all about. My name is Jason Dupree, and this is OCR Talk. Hello, this is Jason Dupree. You are listening to OCR Talk, where I talk about the technical side of OCR live coverage. Thank you for joining me. Today, I just got done doing the live coverage for Big Bear, and it was very interesting. I've got plenty of things to talk about due to the situations, but I'll start with the race itself. We saw, this was the second race in the U.S. National Series, and because prize money came back, we saw names that did not race in Jacksonville. Now, obviously, there was a lot of other things going on during that same weekend of Jacksonville, like Halula, Tough Mudder Infinity, with lots of money on the line. This one, Spartan was going to have a 3K at the North American Championships, so the regional championships, and they decided to scrap that and take the prize money that they had for that and put it into the rest of the series. So while Jacksonville didn't have any cash, the Big Bear and Utah both have, I think it was $2,000 per first, $1,500, $1,000 per second. It was either $2,000 or $1,500 per first, and then $1,000 per second, and $500 per third. So that's cool. That definitely brought out some names that would not have raced otherwise. Now, I think some people were coming out just to get their qualification for the North American Championships, but there's definitely some people that came, just because it's now a more appealing race to race. So we saw Hawk Call take out the guys and lead from the front and just keep the lead the entire time. He finished with about a 5-minute gap, over 5 minutes, really. And then behind him was Chris Bob Brown, I believe. I always get mixed up between Chris Bob Brown and Christian Brown and Johnson. But I guess that settles it for me. It's Christian Brown Johnson, not Chris Brown Johnson. Chris Bob Brown. And he wasn't expected to be racing here. And so that's kind of typical for him, just kind of sign up last minute. So he came in second. And then Manuel Defoe, who was third in the series last year, but won the series last year, but was third in every race of the series. He was in third for Big Bear. And then behind him was Balin Bean and Sean Roberts. And then some other good names too. And Chris Bob Brown's his spear throw, when he got to the spear, he threw it and it hit the target and it bounced out. I'm pretty positive as soon as he saw it hit the target, he turned and ran. And we got this on the live stream too. He turned and ran, and the volunteer didn't say anything, so he just kept on running. And maybe he didn't see it bounce out. But after the fact, they did assess him. I'm almost positive they're assessing him a 10-minute penalty because, he didn't do the penalty full loop, even though his spear popped out. So, unfortunate, but, glad to see that they're, sticking by their rules. 10 minutes is a lot for a penalty, but nonetheless, that's where it's at. On the women's side, Annie Doobie just cleaned house. She took it out and finished with a 10-plus minute lead. Rose Wetzel was in second with Casey Monroe right behind her. And this was really the most exciting part of the race because when Rose got to spear throw, she missed. And so she was on the penalty. And Casey was not far behind her. And she hit her spear. Now, Rose did get out of the penalty loop before Casey hit her spear, but she was in eyesight and maybe maybe 50 yards behind. So this was really awesome because you had 3 more obstacles left. You had the roll in mud, the dunk wall, the slip wall. I guess that's 3 right there. And then the bucket carry. And I would say it was on the climb right after the spear throw, little short climb. Right there, you could really see both of these girls hustling. And then on the bucket carry, Rose did a forward hold, like in front of you, like an old classic hold on the way down. She looked like it wasn't crazy fast, like she wasn't hauling the tail. And Casey put it on her shoulder and was booking it down the hill. But Rose, on the way back up, she put the bucket on her shoulder and she really pushed. And she even talks about it a little bit at the interview at the end of the live coverage. She pushed hard and it was awesome. Really, really cool to see. It was a great fight. They were really pushing each other. Awesome to see both of those girls take it out like that. Lisa Masaccio in 4th, and some other names that I can't remember off the top of my head. So the race itself, up in the mountains, Big Bear is very steep. A lot of steep uphills and downhills. Those downhills are very kind of loose and dusty and just, it's tough course. But it was a pretty gorgeous day. Like this morning before the sun came out, it was in the 40s, so pretty chilly. But the second the sun comes out up here, it gets hot quick. So I think they probably had as best as you can hope for out here, where the temperature wasn't too hot, but you had it nice and sunny, and maybe even a little bit of a breeze. So yeah, it was a good course. I ran the sprint yesterday, and I'm going to do a all obstacles video with the footage because I took my GoPro with me, and it was about the same. But I ran later in the day, so it was quite a bit hotter. But it was crazy though, like it being as hot as it was. And I say hot, it was probably in the upper 60s. But with that sun, it's wild how much different it feels at elevation. And the wind was blowing here and there. And you get chilly whenever the wind would blow. Especially after coming out of the dunk wall. Wind blew there. And it was something. But that's the end of the race. Push hard up the hill, get to the bucket carry, warms you right back up before you even get to the bucket carry. So that was the race. Interesting to see Vivian Tran, 10th place on the women's side. So that's 2 10th place for her for the series. Annie got 1st place, another 1st place here. So she's obviously, going to be able to take the series home pretty easily. But there's very few people that did both races so far. So, and same on the men's side. Ethan Brown was probably put himself into position to win the series. So he got, I think, 6th or 7th. He was right ahead of Jack Bauer. And yeah, so that's going to be a pretty good set of points for him because he got 2nd in Jacksonville. So looking forward to see how he does in Utah, and really going to be trying to focus on that story of, if he can, what place is it going to take for him to take home the series? It's a pretty exciting thing to watch there. All right, let's get into the technical stuff because my goodness, this was some kind of weekend. Very first thing, I went into this weekend not knowing if we were going to have enough rabbits and only having one commentator. Had BJ Jones. Everybody else was busy. It's just a busy weekend. High Rocks Anaheim, Toughest Mudder in Philly, and God knows what else is going on. Bracken was going to join us, but he had a family thing that had gotten rescheduled that he had to take care of, which is totally understandable. So even asking around, everybody else was busy. So I had to step in myself and do the commentary again. Not my strongest suit. Obviously, the more I do it, the better I'll get. But I'd rather just have people that are good at it already. So, but, it's fun. I just wish it would be nice to be able to do it and not have to do other stuff at the same time, because I'm doing the show, running the show and doing commentary. And so going into it, we had, just this week, we had gotten a couple more rabbits committed. And so we had 3. We had 3, and it was Saturday, day before the race. And I said to myself, if we can't get another rabbit, it's not going to be enough for a good live stream. So we will do a post-race show, and I will rabbit as well. That was the plan. I went and did the sprint, and I was going to call it after I got done with the sprint. When I got done with the sprint, I checked my phone, and Lori Way, who had helped us at OCRWC, she messaged me and said she had 2 more people that could help with the rabbiting. Now, I knew that these weren't going to be people that we could send up the mountain and race, run with the athletes, but having those 2 extra hands would definitely let us push the other rabbits up the mountain and have, the shots that we wanted. So that gave us 5. And then she added 1 more. Oh, I got another person. So we had a total of 6 rabbits scheduled. So I was like, okay, well, I got 6 rabbits. That's more than enough to do a live show. I still don't know what the coverage is like on top of the mountain. And only Verizon was really the only good carrier in the area. And so we had to coordinate, like, who's got Verizon? Does somebody need to borrow somebody's phone? I gave one person my phone to use. And, yeah. One of the rabbits, unfortunately, the rabbit that was going to be at the top of the race course and running with the athletes was unfortunately not able to make it early. So we sent a different person up there, and she did great. Can't believe I'm blanking on her name. Oh, shoot. Anyway, we sent her up there, and she did an awesome job. She got all of the obstacles covered. Unfortunately, a lot of those obstacles didn't have cell signal there. Like, we got, like a still shot of the box. We did see a couple people go over Stairway to Heaven, Stairway to Sparta. I know there's a couple more obstacles there, but we just didn't have any signal there. So, had I known all of that beforehand, had I known what the signal on top of the mountain was like, I would have opted for a post-race show in the first place. And the reason this happens is because last year we did Big Bear, but it was a 3K, so it was only in the festival area. So we knew we had good signal there, but we just didn't know what was at the top of the mountain. So if the race goes back there next year, one of the series races goes back there next year, we will definitely do a post-race show instead. I do kind of wish we would have done a post-race show today. And it's no fault of Lori's. I'm extremely happy that we had those extra rabbits. It was awesome of them to show up. Just now that we know what the signal's like, it would have been better to just do a post-race show. So, you live and you learn. Now, other things that we saw. Sorry, I'm driving down the mountain here and seeing these beautiful views of white snow-capped mountaintops. It's got me sidetracked for a second. Okay. So, also, the guy that was going to be able to run with the rabbits, we sent him up the backside of the course to, catch whoever was going down first. He was running with Hawk. Like, he was doing awesome. But unfortunately, he had US Mobile, which, when I looked it up, it said that it used T-Mobile and Verizon's towers. but unfortunately his just did not come through clean at all. So that was just very unfortunate, because we would have had shots of people running down the hill and of more obstacles as well. But that's the way it happened. Let's see. I did want to put some static cameras on some of the obstacles that were nearby, like the monkey bars and the multi-rig, but I just ran out of time getting people ready, getting the rabbits ready, getting set up. It just unfortunate. The race started at 7. I got on site at 5 o'clock, or even before 5 actually, and it just takes that long to do all that stuff. And then we had to start the show, and the show was 6:45. We were a few minutes late getting started, but we started it, and then the athletes took off at 7:03, I think, and they did send off both men and women at the same time, which was awesome. That is extremely helpful for our live streams, and we're so really glad that they did it. They probably chose to because of the size of the waves. They didn't have a ton of men and women. I know I'm not really a fan of the fact that age group gets its own race, like series, because that takes away from people that would be racing in the pro wave instead. But for this, it does work really well. So you don't, obviously there's going to be some separation, but you don't have to send basically 2 sets of rabbits. Like everybody can work together on one team to capture the whole race, which is nice. So all that happened. So we had some of the rabbits that were down in the festival area. They were doing a great job. But they weren't running with the athletes, which is understandable. I knew what I was expecting ahead of time. So VJ recommended, while we're on the broadcast, go take over for her and chase, because we wanted to see Hawk through the finish. You want to see the first place get to the finish. So I left that camera on, and I took off, took the phone, and started doing some rabbiting myself. Now, at this point, the guy, Javier, he was down in the festival area at this point. So once he got through, and once Chris Bob Brown got through, and maybe even Manuel Defoe, once he got through, I handed that phone off to Javier and let him go capture the rest of the females. So then I came back and did the rest of the show. So that was kind of cool, and that's just an example of how crazy it can get at times. Like, I'm doing three different jobs, and one of those jobs is like 7 jobs in itself. The whole running the show, but so it was fun, wild. Definitely not the show that we were hoping for, but still happy with it. Rather would have had a post-race show, but we rolled with what we had, and we got a decent show. Not a great show. I wouldn't even call it a horrible show. I think it was a decent show, but definitely not up to the standards that we hope to get to one day, and that we do get to at times. It just depends. It all depends on the venues. The more we do these venues, the more we learn about them, and until we get to the point where we've got enough money to do cellular bonding, this is just the route we got to go. Now we did get several people in for interviews afterwards, so that was nice. We got Hawk and Sean Roberts and Sam Osborne, I believe. And then we had Rose Wetzel. So anyway, go back. I'll be tagging the live stream with the chapter markers for those once I get to the airport. So keep an eye out for those. It makes it easy to find them. I'll also post some reels. You'll see this. The stories. I'll post some stories with links to the interviews too. But those will be gone by the time you listen to this. But maybe I'll get this up tonight as well. I got some time at the airport, so that may be possible. But I think that's about it that I wanted to share. It was just a crazy, it just felt crazy. I went into this weekend feeling anxious, which is rare for me. But when you don't know if you've got enough people, it makes it makes it tough. And on top of that, not knowing for sure if I was going to do a live show or not, that was rough as well. Just not knowing for sure. The sooner I can make those decisions, the better off we all are. So I will continue to work on that to try and do a better job of making that decision earlier for my own sanity and for the betterment of everybody else too. But we did it, and I felt okay about it, so that's good. I mean, we'll just continue. It was something to watch. People got to watch it. But I appreciate everybody. I appreciate extremely the people that understand. Obviously, anybody listening to this, you guys understand what it takes, what all goes on, and so keep working hard, and we'll get there. We're not in any shape or reason to stop anytime soon. We're going to keep rolling, providing live coverage for obstacle course racing and for DECA, as long as we can, hopefully into a full-blown production company. That's the end goal, to where we can do this at the cost, bringing in enough money to do it at the cost of a legit production company. So here's to onwards and upwards. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you at DECA Austin in a couple weeks. I'll be driving to that one and driving back, so plenty of time to talk about that one and do another episode. But I'll see you then, and see you hopefully at an event. Come say hi if you see us. Look out for the tablecloth that says the OCR report. All right, take care.
OCR Talk is brought to you by the OCR Report. It is recorded, produced, and published by myself, Jason Dupree. I record on my phone and run the audio through the Adobe Audio Enhancer. We're hosted on Libsyn thanks to the OCR Report. You can find more of our older content on Facebook and YouTube as OCR Talk, and follow episode releases on Instagram as OCR_Talk. You can find more content and podcasts at theocrreport.com, and you can buy merch from any of the OCR Report podcasts on our Threadless store, theocrreport.threadless.com. To get alerts when we release new episodes, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app.